Hey everyone, this is Mikedot here for OnRPG.com, and welcome to another episode of OnRPG's Kicktracker Report, a monthly web series focused on Kickstarter gaming projects that you should know about. For everyone that's new to the show, each month I go over a handful of new Kickstarter gaming projects, take a quick look back at campaigns from previous episodes, and I give my thoughts on what makes some of these Kickstarter projects so special. So getting into some news from December going into January 2016, Camelot Unchained by City State Games has recently announced that development on the game is going smoothly. Tons of new art assets have been created over the past few months, and previous tests suggest that they're aiming to have the game support up to 1,000 players during large-scale battles. They've also recently revealed new details on the game's crafting system, merchant caravans, and a ton of other features that are currently in their pipeline. Details on the game's transition from an alpha to beta testing is still currently unknown, but at any rate, I'd say it's not too far off. Moon Hunters by Kit Fox Games is currently gearing up for a full release next month. For those that don't know, Moon Hunters is a pixel-style co-op game where you can team up with 3 friends to solve puzzles and various mysteries in an ancient world. Now, Ragnarchek of OnRPG recently got to try this game out in an exclusive beta back in December, with which he describes the game to be a modern adventure with a well-executed retro spin to it. His initial impressions on the game also suggest that it's very easy to pick up and play, has potential for tons of replay value, and most missions can be completed in one sitting. So for those that have been keeping their eyes out on this one, they should be very excited for the game's full release in February 2016. River City Ransom Underground by Conatus Creative has recently announced that their next backer preview build is now available for everyone that pledged $40 or more during their campaign. This new preview build includes several bug fixes as well as improvements to the gameplay and visuals for animation. To celebrate the new preview build, they've also released an awesome combo video showcasing some of the combos and tricks that backers have been able to pull off in previous builds of the game. Now, personally speaking, I just really like how faithful this game is to the original River City Ransom title, as well as how deep the combat system looks. It just really shows how far the beat-em-up genre has come from the NES days of just button mashing to performing combos that look like something out of a fighting game. But anyway, the release window for River City Ransom Underground is currently set for the first quarter of 2016. Slipstream by Noctech Studios managed to reach a small base funding goal of over $60,000 from over 400 backers. Now, this is a straight-up arcade-style racer that's very reminiscent of titles like Outrun or Rad Racer and many other old-school racing games. With fast-moving pixel artwork, tight controls, and a synth-pop soundtrack, Slipstream presents itself as a nostalgia-fueled blast from the past. Now, just looking at some of the features that this game plans to include in its initial release, which is 4 game modes, 30 tracks, and 4 cars, it may not seem like much, but after trying out the demo and getting a good feel for the gameplay, I say for what it has to offer, this game is definitely worth a look for those that are fans of old school racing games. Now, while I do believe that innovation is important for the industry to move forward, at the same time, I also believe that not every game out there needs to reinvent the wheel, so to speak, in order to be fun. So I'm just personally looking forward to the full release of this game. AdventureQuest 3D by Artix Entertainment ended its campaign successfully with over $300,000 raised from nearly 5,000 backers. With so much funding achieved, the backers managed to unlock all stretch goals, including daily login rewards, exploration achievements, daily boss dungeons, pets, and a ton of other features. At the time of this recording, the game is now available in a pre-beta build for all those that pledged $25 or more to the campaign. During this pre-beta, players will be able to try out new features and content, as well as give some early feedback on the game's ongoing development. With so much progress already made on the game, it won't be much longer until the game finishes development and heads into a live release later this year. Zems, the dynamic turn-based card battle game by Impulse Limited, unfortunately failed to meet its $40,000 funding goal. At the time of this recording, the game is still in development, and the team at Impulse Limited is now accepting supporters on Patreon. Each month, supporters will receive various rewards and goodies similar to the backer rewards on their Kickstarter campaign as they work towards releasing a closed beta build of the game later this year. Dogma Eternal Night by Prelude Games Factory also failed to meet its funding goal with only $35,000 in pledges. As of this recording, development on the game is still ongoing, and they've even released a new development trailer showcasing their work in progress. They've also announced that pre-orders for the game will be available on their official website in order for fans to support the game, as well as work towards various stretch goals for the game's development. In a news update on their official website back in December, the team at Prelude Games Factory is very passionate about this project, and the game will get completed and released one way or another. As for new Kickstarter campaigns this month, first we have Hero's Song, a new action RPG by Pixel Mage Games. Headlined by industry veteran John Smidley and his team, this game presents itself as a hardcore action RPG with a pleasing 2D pixel art style. Now in this game, players will be able to go on an epic journey to become a god, as they create their own worlds to play in either solo or with hundreds of players online. This game will also have roguelike elements including randomized loot and permanent death. And the biggest feature in Hero's Song is being able to host your very own servers for friends and strangers to play on. Now the concept here has all been done before, sure, but I do like some of the ideas the game has in store, like how they handle permanent death in this game. Now, rather than just having your character die on the spot, your character actually gets sent to a nether realm where you must fight to survive in the most literal sense in order to reclaim your body and your loot. There's also a ton of different races and classes to choose from, magic, crafting, and this game just seems to have a lot going for it. Now the combat is still a work in progress, and it seems to have that Legend of Zelda style combat to it, which I can see myself getting into. Overall, this game has a lot of potential going for it, and considering how much experience that John Smidley and his team has, I think this game will deliver on everything it promises without a doubt. At the time of this recording, this campaign managed to reach over $25,000 in funding in just a few hours. But with an $800,000 goal, there's still a lot of support needed. This campaign ends on February 18th, 2016. This last title comes from Ace Adventure Studios' production called ChemCaper, the world's first chemistry RPG. Now this is truly one of the most unique concepts I've ever seen for a video game in a very long time. You play as Rob Idiom, which is a clever play on the periodic element named rubidium, as a hero who's in search of his long-lost parents as he travels the world and fights against dangerous creatures based on the periodic table of elements. Now, as a game that is designed to be played on mobile devices as well as the PC, this game will have players mixing chemicals through mini-games, creating allies known as pedicles, as well as figuring out which pedicle element can counter enemy elements during battles. So with some of the modern educational games that I've played these days, they tend to focus on the learning aspect first and gameplay second, but this game seems to mix RPG gameplay and chemistry so naturally, it kind of just blows my mind thinking, why has nobody thought of something like this before? It really reminds me of games that were made by the Learning Company back in the 1980s and the 1990s with their Super Solver series like Treasure Mountain and Gizmos and Gadgets, and I'm just really glad that a game like this plans to exist in the modern age, because it just shows you that when it gets down to it, education and entertainment does not have to be mutually exclusive from one another. Now, at the time of this recording, this game has reached half of its base funding goal with over 2 weeks left, and there's still plenty of time to reach that goal. So I like to say, for the first game of 2016, this one gets my highest recommendation. I just really want to see this game get funded because the visuals are very appealing, the gameplay looks great, and overall it's just a very unique concept that I want to see more of. This campaign ends on February 11th, 2016. And that's all the time I have for this recap. So if you'd like to learn more about the games featured in this video, just check out the links in the description below. But as always, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe for next month's recap. This is Mikedot saying over and out.